everybody, it's Gail from Gail's Bookish Things. I am here to do a little review on, or comparison on the ink I just bought. I did a video the other day on this Artisan Pastelier Classic ink in turquoise. And Donna had said, compare it with the turquoise by Lamy. And I thought, you know what? That's a great idea, because my whole point in buying this was to find a more green leaning turquoise versus blue. So I kind of started out just doing what I thought might be what I actually wanted, but these are actually quite blue. The Pilot Iroshizuku is, you know, more maybe teal leaning. I don't know, not even that, but more of a peacock blue. Noodler's Navajo Turquoise, renamed Turquoise of the Mesas, is really a bright popping blue. It's very lovely to write with, and you can see on the lighter areas where it's not quite as saturated. That's more how it looks, I think, when you're writing. But anyway, those are definitely out of the question and not really even what Donna had suggested, but I did want to explore those a little more closely. I did revisit Pure Pen's Kum Idwal, and that might actually be a good fit for the pen that's coming at the end of October for me. I have the B7 Natural paper, and this is the Regalia. And the B7 Natural from Paper Penguin Co. Has quite a bit of sheen in the Kum Idwal. It's a coppery red, I wouldn't say quite rose gold, more red leaning. But it's really pretty, and I don't pick up on that sheen typically when I'm writing with it. So it's interesting that this paper does allow that element. But the base color of the pen I'm getting is going to be sort of a turquoise, but like I said, more green leaning. So I think this might work. Doesn't have to match, of course. I just thought it'd be fun maybe to kind of have an ink in mind to put in it when it does arrive that would go with the pen, at least starting out that way. I thought that would be a fun approach. I may totally go a different direction. But actually, the Lamy turquoise that I already had is probably a better match for the pen than this new sample I bought. This has been really fun to write with, though. I do like it. It's very bright. It's a cheerful color. I think it might be similar to the Diamine Marine, which I do not have, but I've seen. And for some reason, this one seemed a little bit better when I was looking at the swatches online. You know, the color sample things that they show you. A little bit deeper in, let's see, make sure I have my papers right. It's a little bit deeper colored on the Regalia, I think, just ever so slightly. And then General of the Armies, another Noodler's ink, is one that hit me last night. Like, maybe that's the kind of color that I want. Again, you're getting a bit of a deep red sheen on the B7 Natural paper. Kind of smudged it there, but it did show some neat elements of the ink where I did that. And then the Lamy Turquoise Tourmaline has some sheen in the writing and in the little places where the ink pooled. On the Regalia, you get the sheening as well. And I would say not quite as much. I think the sheen here is just a little more apparent on the B7 Natural. It's almost like a shine. That's probably not an authentic fountain pen ink word, but when it hits the light, it does kind of show a overall shininess to it, but not so defined as you would say maybe in a sheen where it's in specific places. This might work too. It is definitely a little more green leaning than the Lamy Turquoise, But when the pen arrives, I guess I'll make the final decision, because even that will look different on a screen than it probably will in person. I did go ahead and do a chromatography. These are just so fascinating to me. So the Kum Idwal has so much more blue in it than I would have guessed. And then Iroshizuku, this just really bright, or maybe like a sky blue, just a little bit of green there. Not surprised by the Navajo Turquoise. Just a lot of bright, vibrant blue. The Lamy Turquoise or Tourmaline, I, for the life of me, can't remember what the pen was called and what the ink was called. Maybe they're the same. Anyway, you get the idea. That is kind of a little surprising to me, how much of a yellowish green is in that ink. And then Noodler's General of the Armies is just kind of funny to me. A little bit of gray, tons of blue, darker green, and then almost a neon yellow. Very unique. That just, I always think, you know, if I was matching the samples with the ink and not knowing which went with which, I don't think I would have. I would have guessed that. The only thing is just that little bit of green there seems to be, obviously it's here, but that maybe that little bit here would have given me the clue that that belonged together. But basically I would be like, what? How can that be that? And then the Artisan Turquoise is just pretty true to the sample. There wasn't a lot of surprises there. In my search for this perfect turquoise for the coming pen, I decided to go ahead and look at my little coloring cards. So this is the new one. The Artisan Pastelier. Looks like a summer swimming pool, beach, ocean, tropical kind of turquoise to me. It's really pretty. Looking a little more blue to you than I'm seeing in person, but pretty close. Of course, and that might change depending on how you're viewing it. And then this is quite different, isn't it? This is a turquoise and this is a turquoise. So it's just funny how colors with the same names can be quite different. My friend Kathy was mentioning a sepia that she has. It's different than the one I'm sampling, and it's like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know who gets to think of the names, but apparently turquoise and sepia can be quite different. Here on the card, this Lamy Turquoise, like, okay, on this coloring paper, whatever this is, if it's more of a watercolor type, it's got a rougher surface. This color is just about perfect. And it's not showing true what I'm seeing and what you're seeing. This is looking blue through my phone. To me, it's much more green leaning. That may really be it. And then also the Kujaku on this looks pretty perfect as far as the match I'm wanting. And even Kum Idwal. Getting a little bit of the sheen here, and the sheen here is looking more rust, and it's like what's showing on the writing way more than the background. So this paper, I'm really having fun doing these. I know it's very, very nice to have this and be able to compare the colors, but I find that it's quite different than my papers that I write with. But so, yeah, I appreciated Donna mentioning that. I was kind of thinking I need to do a chromatography and a color comparison. It seems like I might have already had what I was looking for in the Lamy Turquoise. Again, we'll see when the pen arrives. Possibly Noodler's General of the Armies. I think this is going to be a little brighter, but I am super happy to have tried this ink, and I want to try more samples of this Artisan ink because it is really, really nice to write with. It flows so well. It's got a little bit of shading in the printing. I just really like it. So that's all for now. Just a little comparison on those inks. Hope that was helpful. See you again soon. Bye.